mountain. And so, let me adjust this really quick. So every day we are all climbing our own mountains. Sometimes more than one, but at least one. And sometimes we're not aware, we're dragging our feet, and we're kind of aimlessly wandering. You ever get that feeling? Like you don't really know what you're climbing for? This is why we've had the conversation about what's your why? And it's really important to know your why, because we're always climbing. In other words, we're always striving, or hopefully we are, because I think that feels a lot better. To always be striving towards something. You're gonna have to check and make sure that works. We're just plugging in a mic, so hopefully you all can hear me. And I think oftentimes if we're not aware that we're climbing, or if we don't really have anything that we're striving towards, and that doesn't mean to not be grateful and just content where you're at. That's not what I mean. I mean, we ought to also be grateful and content where we're at. I just think it's very important that we're also seeking to strive. I think we kind of can get stuck in a rut sometimes. And I know for me, one of the things that really keeps me motivated and striving is knowing what's at the top, knowing what's at the top of the mountain. So I had a really cool conversation with someone recently about the difference between like your vision and your purpose, or your why. And I said, your vision is like the top of a mountain. It's like when you paint that picture of how you want your life to be, what you want to manifest in your life. That's sort of like your top of the mountain. And then your why is what propels you. Your why is the future. The fuel. Your why is the fuel that propels you. And so it's really, really important to be aware of what am I striving for? Because the opposite, or somewhere in the middle even, is, I'm good, I'm just content, life is good, I'm not really striving towards anything. Okay. On the hard days, on the challenging days, when that happens, you're not really striving towards anything. There's something about our human spirit that desires to be stronger. There's something about our lives that when we're really striving or aiming towards something, it gives us this momentum. And when we're not, we kind of feel stuck and stagnant. We tend to get inside of patterns and rhythms that aren't really creating a lot of value in our life. And I remember having this conversation in one of my former workplaces about value. And it's easy to really look at people for their value, or to associate their value to how much they do and how much they get done. And that can be a really dangerous thing. Because also in your life, when you're striving, it's important to know that whether you're at the top of a mountain or not, wherever you're at on the journey, doesn't mean you are any more or less important and valued. It's important to not value people for what they do. We're not human doings, we're human beings. So I think valuing yourself at every stage is deeply important. And I don't mean to always have a mountain as in to never be satisfied where you're at. That's not the message. You ought to be grateful and thankful. In fact, I think all of us can find many things and many people and much about our lives to be thankful for all along the journey. And I still think it's deeply important for our human spirit to strive. I think it creates a momentum and an uplifting within us that's important for us to have. Otherwise, like I said, we get kind of stagnant. So if you don't have something you're really striving towards, you might notice that Maybe you feel a little stagnant, or life just feels kind of monotonous. And that's kind of what happens too, is we over and over again do the same things, kind of go through the motions of life, and maybe have a level of contentment. But on the hard days and when hard things hit, sometimes it's a little challenging to find, what's my purpose? What's important to me? Why am I here? And so, like I said, mountains we climb, we will all have them, but it's really, really important to have them. It's really important. And by the way, if you're climbing a mountain, that means that you're not always at the top of it. That means that you're climbing. That means that it's tough sometimes. That means that we're aiming and striving towards something. That means that there's going to be moments maybe where we pause and rest. That might be a ledge that we get to where we sip some water. Or there might be moments when we're striving really hard and it's challenging. Or it might be smooth. You know the flat parts on mountains? You ever hit those? The flat parts, those are where you breathe a little bit. Maybe it's that. But I think it's important to know what you're striving for. I think it's important to identify what the heck the top of the mountain is for you. It's kind of like if you've ever climbed a mountain before and you've been at the top and you see the view, you understand, wow, the breath that you get to take up there, the scenery, the view that you have, how everything's a little bit more calm and still. Unless you've climbed the mountain with a bunch of people and there's a bunch of noisy people up there. But you get the idea. That it's incredible. It's incredible. And the perspective. You ever climbed a mountain and just kind of sat at the top for a little while and just appreciated it up there? The perspective that happens in that space. Why does that happen? The perspective happens because you just went on a journey and you had to work for it. And so you appreciate it so much more, because you just had to work for it. So there is great purpose in understanding what mountain are you seeking to climb right now. And maybe don't try and climb 5 at a time. Maybe find what is most important to you now and really decide on, what does that view at the top look like? And what am I striving for? It helps us with our why, and then it helps give our why a direction, you know? If we're trying to heal from something or be better about something, what's the top look like? Like, what are we striving for? It's important to know that. And it's important so that we don't just get stuck living life just kind of like this. If for no other reason, then I think we can be better because we're human beings. And I think that's what it's about, is can I be better? I didn't say do better. You don't have to do a ton of things. I think we can do better too. But I think that we can be better. I think that we can grow. I think our capacity is absolutely incredible. And that's why I do what I do. Ironically enough, I have my coach shirt on, which was a gift from a client a long time ago. But it's true. I do what I do because I really believe that people have an incredible capacity for expansion and growth and love. And that's not everybody. There's some people in this world who will choose horrible things and terrible paths. Hopefully that's not you. I believe in you, and I believe in me, and I believe that we are incredibly capable. So today, let's envision climbing our mountain. And what does it look like for you? What does the top look like? So, if you got to watch this awesome content on my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe and share it with a friend. And if you're watching it live, please like it and share it and tell everyone about it, so that we can all grow and expand. And let's get into our meditation.